I'm Nelda Hobbs. I'm here at the HLOKC Healthy Living Center. I'm going to try to teach you how to make one of these memory bracelets. I teach technology here at the center. We have tons of things that are going on all the time. Jewelry class meets on Wednesdays, 2 to 4. We have great fun, wonderful people, and we learn a lot. Like I said, I'm going to try to show you how to do this with continuity. However, I'm fairly new at this, so just bear with me if you will. And I'll start showing you now. Okay, so we're back and we're going to talk about making a memory wire bracelet. First of all, I just wanted to show you some things that you need to know to have the supplies to make the memory wire bracelet. First of all, this is bead from Beadalon. This is kind of a universal size for making memory wire bracelets. You can get it in either round or you can get it in oval, which just depends on your preference. What you're going to need to make this bracelet is you're going to need a tool that helps you make a loop at each end of the bracelet, and we'll talk about that. And then you're going to need some special cutters because memory wire is very thick and it's hard to cut, so you'll ruin your regular wire cutters if you use it on memory wire. So you want to get some special ones like this. There's many other types of tools that you can get that are that will allow you to make your loops at the end of your memory wire. It's not necessary to get them. They're just available out there. Certainly this is one of those things that when you're making jewelry, you always wonder, what do I need? What do I need to make something with? And really, I just use this memory wire here. This looper, this for the memory wire here. Okay, so I was going to just show you also how to make the loop in your memory wire. This is not going to be our bracelet. We're going to do a double strand bracelet. We can also make a single strand bracelet, but I'm just going to show you just kind of, hopefully we can pick this up on this camera to show you that you just determine what size loop that you want at the end of the wire, and you're going to position your loop tool where the end of the wire is barely sticking out. You can just barely see it at the location that will indicate the size of loop that you want. Now you'll notice that I marked on here with the magic marker the different sizes of loops. If you go on YouTube, you'll find all kinds of YouTube videos that tell you the exact size, the exact amount to allow for spacing and things like that. But I just marked kind of the universal sizes that I usually use to make a bracelet, and depending on what you decide to use, then you can just choose that. And if you want to have a smaller loop on your bracelet, then you'd go here. If you want a little bit bigger, then you would go right here. And realize that that is flush. You know, I don't really see any of that. And so when I do that, and remember this wire is kind of hard, kind of stiff. It's difficult to turn sometimes. So you just gently put that in there and turn it to the side like this, and you're pushing with your thumb against that to make a loop. And you see there is a loop, and then you just continue on with that and come back toward, and there you have your loop in the end of it. Okay, so you can do that. You can do that with this tool. You can do that with this tool. Essentially it'll do the same thing. It allows you for the different sizes that you want to make your loop depending on the item you're using. We have another kind here too. So don't let this overwhelm you. Don't let you think, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna get into that because either I can't afford or I don't want to put out that kind of expense. Don't worry about that. These two basic things right here will get you to the final project we've done. So when you take this out of the bag, it's going to be one long continuous coil, if you will, and then you measure it on your wrist. You just take the wire, measure it on your wrist, so that and you cut off the length that you're going to want for either a single or for a multiple strand. You want to make sure that when you cut it, that the two ends will be fairly close together, and that they will be on the underside of your wrist, kind of like this one. Okay, you can use any kind of pearl you want. You can any kind of stone. I don't mean pearl, excuse me. But you can use any kind of stone you want, any kind of bead you want, anything like that. As long as it has a hole that goes right through the middle of it, it's considered a bead, so you're in good shape. Okay? So, with that being said, we were talking about the ends here. Like if you want to make this looped end, you'll make it on one end, you'll string your beads, and then you'll make it on the other. If you would like to have something that looked a little fancier than that, then you can get some ends that look like this. There's all different kinds. This is just one of the kinds that you can get. And you can, before you ever start your project, you would take your wire and you would put glue on your wire, put glue down in this hole the best you can, get that down in there, and put that right on there. And then I usually leave mine overnight because you just want to make sure it's good and strong. And then when the next day I go in and I string my beads, and then you can see how that I put that on the other end, and so it's got a nice closure. It just looks kind of cool, really, you know. So that's some options, and like you have all different types, as long as they just don't have a hole all the way through them. And these also allow, there's a little loop on the end right here so that you can put a little dangly or charm or whatever you want, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so here we've got our beads that we're going to need. This is a little more than what we're going to need, but I always make sure I have plenty. And so here we have some red bicone beads, and here's some silver spacers. You might wonder, okay, what's a bicone bead? There's all different kinds of beads. Just if you look them up, you go to one of the sites and look for beads, you'll see all different types. But if you look at this, you can see that it has a cone on one end and a cone on the other end. So it's like you took two cones and put them together and sealed them in the middle. So that's known as a bicone bead. Okay? All right. Now I'm a teacher. I teach nursing, and if my class was in session, I would say, "Does you understand that? Do you have any more questions?" But since I can't do that, I'll just have to assume that you understood that. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to use, once again, the looper and make our beginning loop. So I'm coming here to the end of this. It is barely extending past my tool right here. I've decided I wanted a little bit bigger loop, so I'm going to go with that. I'm going to bring my hand forward with having a firm grip on this. I've got my thumb right behind here because I'm going to give it some a little bit of force to move that around there. I'm holding that with my thumb, trying to keep that right there on that area. Okay, and then when you come back out, it's a little wide. You certainly don't want it that wide because you don't want your beads to come off. So I just go back under there and I pull that around. And I'm pushing on the sides of your bead. You can have a really close proximity with with your loop to prevent your beads, once you get them on there, from going past the loop. So you, there again, decide what side of the loop you want. Okay. So with that being said, then you decide what you want, how you want to do this. So you just start taking the beads and putting them on there. And we'll just, it might seem like it takes a little while, but we'll just do it anyway. Just to kind of show you how we just put those beads on there. Make sure you, sometimes you have a pattern. Like on some of these, you can see that there are different patterns that I did. Just depends on what you want to do, what you want it to look like. And you just put them on here. Show you a little trick that I do once I get a few on here. And I do it just because it makes it easier for me, and I kind of can keep track of my pattern, because if I get distracted, then sometimes I'll have two of the same color bead together. If I get to watching TV, or I get to thinking about things, I just put these on here as I just keep kind of making this pattern. There again, depending on what color, what size you want, what you're going for. Now see, I slide mine down to the end, because then I can be comfortable that it's not, the bead's not going to go past my loop. See? So I just slide that down. Then I have these little clips. You can buy these little clips. And I get my beads, some of them I get them from Amazon, some I get from Beadalon, some I get from Fire Mountains. There's all different sites that you can order your beads from. But what I do is I like to slide mine down and make sure that I've got a good capture there. And then I use this clip, this little alligator clip, and I clip it right here. So I kind of keep them in line like that, and I can see where I am on my bracelet. It also helps me to, if I stop or something like that, I don't have to worry about any of them escaping, or I can see that I'm following my pattern. So, and as you can see, this is turning out, this looks like it's going to be so pretty. And beads, the natural habitat for a bead is the floor, incidentally. Just saying, I throw that in, because they will fall every time you are trying to do something, and they will go to the floor, they will bounce, and you just, don't get upset about that. Just keep going. Just thank goodness that you have enough beads that you can just keep going, and eventually you'll find them. I'll take that off there now. This is just something I do. This is not something necessarily that you're going to see on any of the videos on YouTube, which are excellent videos. It's just something I do. It just kind of helps me keep track of what I'm doing. This board that I'm using right here, this is a special ordered board that you get. You can see it has my name on it right there, in case you forget who I am. But what's nice about this, and what they say, and I do believe it's true, is that when you lay your beads on here, you'll notice, I don't know if the camera's going to pick this up or not, but you notice that hole is up right there. So one of the things they say about this type of board that you can get is that you pour your beads out on there and the holes will be up. So that makes it nice. That makes it real nice. Especially some beads, you know, they have such little holes, or they're so dark they're hard to find. So now we're getting close to the end. I'm going to take my clip out here, and I'm going to see where I am as compared to the other end, and see what I need to do. Now sometimes what I'll do is, you can notice with my pattern, this is my next bead. So I'm going to see if I can safely put that on there and still have a nice size loop. It's not exact, it can't be, you know, this is handmade, this is you know, you just give it your best shot, but you know, the key thing is it's handmade. So now I'm at the end. You can see, isn't that pretty? So now you can see that I'm going to go here. I've left enough room. I'm going to go back to where I was on here. And I'm going to roll it. And I'm going to come back on here again. Put it on that same area that I've got it on there. And with the use of this finger, I'm going to close it up. And it takes a little bit of strength to do that. But you can see that they're pretty good. They look pretty good. Okay? So then what you want to do is you want to put them on your arm and admire it and think what a wonderful artist you are, that you were able to make this yourself at home. So, you feel good about that? Or if you're going to make it for someone, here's a multiple strand one, depending there again on your beads and on the pattern that you want. You can see I don't know what I was doing on this, but I just came up with something and I think, oh, that looks pretty good. Okay, the last thing that we're going to do, we have this bracelet, and we had a fun time putting that together, and then we just want to, if we just kind of want to fancy it up a little bit, you're going to give it as a gift and you just want to fancy it up, well then you can take one of these flat head pins. You can buy them in packages. Let's see, where are mine? You can buy them in packages like this, and there's different lengths. You want to, you know, buy all the different lengths if you're going to invest in some, just, you know, 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, whatever, because it depends on what you're making as to how long you want this to be, and you don't want to waste them. So what we're going to do very simply is we're just going to take this, we'll take our silver bead, and we'll take our red bicone bead, and we'll look at that, and then we'll just go back over here and we'll put another silver bead on there. Ah, that looks pretty nice, doesn't it? Looks pretty good. Now sometimes there, you know, I could, you know, put another bicone bead on there maybe, but then if you'll notice, this doesn't leave very much room for my loop. And if I put another silver bead on there, it just kind of looks a little, it lacks symmetry, right? So let's just put this right here, and I just measure, I usually use my finger, and I just measure from where the last bead is into just kind of the top of my finger. You know, I know that, like I said, if you look on YouTube, they'll give you measurement increments, but and I just cut that off to about that same length, just about right to the top of my finger. And then once again, I'm just going to take my my looper here, and depending on, I don't have a whole lot of wire here, so I'm going to use my smaller looper. See if that's going to work for me. And I'm going to bring that around, and then I have a little O-ring here. I can put right on there, and then I can put this. I haven't opened my O-ring either, so I could just put the loop onto this right here. Only I found that it doesn't hang as well, doesn't dangle as well. So I'm just going to put this on here. Try to get this to come down. And you notice that it did. So it made a nice loop there. Nothing's going anywhere. And I'm going to take my pliers here, one on each side. Remember, you want to gently move this away from the middle. You don't want to do it like a screw or anything like that. You want to just gently move that away from the middle, and just as much, just not more than you think you're going to need, because you don't want, because you're going to put it back. Now I just drop that on there, and then I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to gently bring that back. Just gently bring it back. And there we have it. We have a nice dangle. I think that kind of completes our experiment of making a jewelry. I hope you will get you a few beads and some package of memory wire, and just try your hand at this. And I hope you'll come and visit us in the jewelry class, and I think you'll really enjoy it. Okay, thank you so much for watching this demonstration. I hope you learned something. Thank you in advance for bearing with me for if there was a lack of continuity, and if I forgot something and someone helped me remember. So please don't forget about the HLOKC Healthy Living Center over here on Rockwell. It's a great place to meet people. It's a great place to have community. And as soon as it opens up, we'll be back in jewelry class on Wednesdays 2 to 4, and my tech class on Tuesdays 1 to 3. Thank you so much.